says the black male voter hopped up on that FBA drug. This came with a link that takes us to YouTube. So what we'll do, we'll watch about 6 minutes of this, and then we'll discuss it.
How is Jill Stein going to give us reparations? How is Jill Stein going to give us reparations?
I don't know how Jill Stein, but I just. Oh, okay. I think African American men shouldn't vote unless Kamala Harris is talking about reparations, and she's not talking about reparations. She's not talking about taking qualified immunity away from the police, you know, and she's not talking about a hate crime bill for black folks. That whole bunch of hodgepodge.
So a few things. She has talked about reparations. She even talked about reparations in this town hall.
I don't want her what she calls reparation. I want cash payments and I want land. I don't want a bunch of crap that they throw all together. No.
Do you know how you get
reparations?
So how you get reparations? Do you know how you get reparations?
Oh God, you want to do a whole Boule Martin type thing and start telling me you got to go to your alderman, then your alderman go to your mayor, then your mayor go to your senator. Please, the immigrants don't have to do that. Immigrants walking in here getting stuff handed to them.
Immigrants aren't getting reparations, and whatever they get is temporary.
What? Am I going to go on the air, or am I debating with you?
Are you what? Are you arguing, or are you debating?
I'm arguing. I said, am I going to debate with the host on the show, or am I only supposed to debate you?
You're talking to Lucas right now. That's why I'm. That's why I'm refuting what you're saying.
Oh well, then you. Okay,
so when it comes to reparations, many people compare reparations with Japanese reparations, right?
No, I compare my reparations with wanting the cash payments, and I worked the Japanese.
So the only people that I'm aware of in the United States,
I want some land allocated like
I hear you. So Japanese
paid off like.
So hold on. I get what you're saying. You want cash payments. You want land. I'm all about that. Absolutely. So one group that got cash payments would be the Japanese. The other group would be as far as the Indians who got land or whatnot, casinos.
No, Indians get money every year. Indian tribes get money every year. Yes, they do. I saw Biden sit in the White House with Kamala Harris, and they handed him a check, one of the biggest payments to an Indian tribe. And the Indian tribe that they gave it to was the Indian tribe that the treaty that they honored was a treaty to return Africans that had ran away.
Okay, so that's a treaty. Okay, so how that works? It all has to go through Congress. Oh, that's how. I know you may not like this, but this is basic civics.
No, I don't need you to try to tell me about American politics, my man. I'm 66 years old.
But you don't know basic civics.
You don't know.
You're a grown man, but you don't know how a bill becomes law.
You don't know. You don't know. You
I do know. Talking about. I'm telling you right now. Let me just see if we may agree on a few things, right? So when a bill becomes law, how it has to work for us to get reparations, the same way the Japanese did. So the Japanese, I believe it took them over 10 years or whatnot. It took them 5 years after them being in concentration camps to even get the bill passed. Okay? So we're going to need some time to get a bill passed. The last bill that I'm aware of that had to do with reparations was H.R. 40. That died on the floor.
Okay,
the reason why it died on the floor, is because we didn't have enough votes in the House. We had the House, we didn't have enough votes in the Senate. So
I was living at the time when Congress was pushing that, my man. I was living and dealing with that.
I think that's great. So then you know what I'm saying is factual, right? So now
you're talking in circles.
So hear me out. I'm not talking in circles. We're going in a straight line. So hear me out. So what we need in order for us to get cash payments, right? Cash payments and land, I'm all about that. We need a bill. So either we have to revise H.R. 40, or we need another bill in order to present to who? We have to present it to Congress because that's how it's going to get passed. So now, hold on. How a bill is introduced? How a bill is introduced? A bill is introduced.
You filibuster.
No, I'm not. I'm going to wrap it up real quick. I'm going to wrap it up real quick. Hold on. I'm going to wrap it up real quick. Give me like 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
He was gonna get an immigrant.
My G, give me 30 seconds. Give me 30.
Came on day one from the federal government. Pay us our reparations.
I understand.
She can do that for.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me.
I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that.
Let me explain something to you. Let me hold on. Let me.
Why she came from the federal government?
Boss man. Let me explain something to you. Let me explain to you.
She can do that for executive order.
Give me 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So how that works is right. A bill has to be introduced. Give me 30 seconds, fam. I'll explain that to you. How a bill has to be introduced is from the House.
You can't explain it.
Bro, let me explain it.
Young pop, you can't explain that.
Bro, I can't explain it, fam. Let me explain it.
Sucking up behind the
bro, you very upset. You dealing with emotions right now.
You don't want nothing.
Just calm down, bro. Just calm down.
You don't want nothing for your vote. I just gotta get out here.
Just calm down, fam. Just calm down, bro.
2025. Just because they're gonna do something for 2025.
Calm down, bro.
Let me. Damn 2025, man.
Bro, let me explain it to you.
I'm not worried about that. You just.
So let me explain it to you.
I'm scared, boss.
Absolutely. So let me explain. So 30 seconds. You just give me 30 seconds. I'll explain it to you. So we need someone from the House or the Senate to introduce this bill, right? I don't know if anyone you follow has a bill that they want to introduce or has someone that the senator, a senator or a House representative can introduce. Hold on. So upon that, so hold on. Let me explain to you. I'm trying to explain to you.
The Black Caucus will do the same thing that the Negroes did in California.
So that I agree with you. So hear me out. So I agree with you. So what we need to do. So what we need to do is make sure that we have the numbers to get it passed, right? So how do we do that? So in the Senate and the House, right? I don't know if you happen to know how Congress works. We have senators and we have House of Representatives. So we need to make sure that we have a filibuster proof. So we need to make sure that we have a filibuster proof
order from the presidency. She can do it for DACA.
She can't do it. Hold on. She can't. Hold on. No. She cannot
allocate money from the federal government from her position as president.
Okay, so let me tell you something.
Some type of reparations from the federal government. You can do that,
bro. You have a lot of opinions, but you just don't have any facts. Let me explain to you. She can't executive order. She can't do an executive order for reparations.
Democrats and want something for your damn vote, man.
She gave. What do you mean want something for the damn vote?
Something for your vote.
She gave us a black agenda, did she not?
These damn immigrants. And that's another thing.
Wait, hold on, boss man, hold on, my nigga, bro. You talking a lot. You talking a minute a mile, bro.
All the goddamn immigrants.
What don't you? Hold on.
Voting for the Democrats.
Boss man, you going off. You're not saying anything that's factual. Let me tell you something. She can't give you reparations from the. She can't give an EO for reparations. That's not how that works. It has to go through Congress.
She's a lot she can do from the federal. I bet you if Trump was in, and he wouldn't do no reparations. That ain't what I'm saying. But Trump did whatever the fuck he wanted to do when he was president. When the Democrats
he didn't. No, he didn't, because a lot of it got caught up in the courts.
Do that, man. Oh, punk ass Barry Obama didn't do shit, and you think I'm gonna vote for her? I'm not voting for no more black people that can't trace their.
So what don't you like about the black?
I ain't voting for no more black people that can't trace their lineage, blah, 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 blah. You know, a long time ago on Shoot the Breeze, I think it was me who put up a prompt about what CARICOM wanted in terms of reparations, and a lot of people poo-pooed it. It was about like funding infrastructure and industries and things of that nature. Folks poo-pooed it. Folks wanted money, and I say this respectfully, but what you hear there, that's a desperation for cash, and it's because folks is poor. Folks are poor, so folks want that cash, but not understanding that cash, that might get you by for a little while, but if you don't have an infrastructure in terms of the black community, if you don't have, things set in place so that you don't give this money right back, what's the point of getting that money? All for them to tell you later on, hey, we give you money, or shut the fuck up. And that's something we have to be very careful about. We really have to be a little bit more meticulous. That cut the check hashtag that came out, I think it was Black Truth who brought that out some years ago. That's a very low energy outlook. I think it was Kofi who played it, actually. I think it was Kofi who played it. I saw Tariq Nasheed recently said if a person want to buy crack with their money, with their reparations, that's fine. And that's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. But it comes down to folks is broke, and so all they want to hear is cash, 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 not understanding that if you don't have something in place to make sure that that money stays in your community, if you don't have a mindset even to make sure that money stays in your community, that's just a wasted effort. And ultimately, these people ain't gonna give you money to put you on equal or better footing than their own people. That's just the truth of the matter. They're not gonna give you money to make you as good or better than the average white guy. And that's just the truth of the matter. Let me hear from Buana. Buana, the black male voter, hopped up on that FBA drug. As you see in the chat, Black Steel says that was painful to listen to. What do you say?
Yeah, not, by the way, Black Steel, when you can, come on, brother. Not only Koku said that that brother was broke. Not only is he tangibly broke, but his mindset is extremely broke. And he wants, instead of being taught how to fish, instead of building a fishing industry, he just want someone to give him a plate of fish. And what happens when that fish is all eaten up? Because he can't go back to the fisherman and ask for more fish. The fisherman can say, I already didn't give you the fish. You can't go to the fishing industry to get a job at the fishing industry because I never teach you how to fish. I ain't teach you how to clean the fish. I ain't teach you how to gather the fish or to sell the fish. But these people just want the fish itself. When I hear from him, he reminds me of Bahamian voters and how they are manipulated every electoral year. How they are manipulated. Just the politicians come around and give them like $50 and some marijuana and some alcohol, and these people give them anything. Any politician will be able to get into office. And this is my problem with democracy sometimes, Koku. And this was the framers of the America problem with democracy. There wasn't big Democrats because they felt like the large swath of the people who was in America. When I hear a man like this man is obviously out of his mind. He's out of his mind. And he is just regurgitating the ideas of some people he would have heard on the internet. Never met them before, but he just regurgitating these ideas. And this is the problem I have with so-called democracy. Because the morons can vote. Their vote is, and unfortunately, sometimes the masses are asses. They represent more than the well-informed people. So your outcome is always going to be the same result. This is a reason why in our country you see the same members of parliament, but they have the mind of the masses. The masses, not the well-informed. And for me personally, I have to do what I need to do to make my own personal life better, because it's very difficult for me to change the state of affairs of a country or large groups of people unless I decide to become a politician, and I don't want to do that. So I just think that he is indicative of a whole lot of different kinds of voters. And unfortunately, I mean, this is nothing we haven't heard from all these people on YouTube so far, but right now in the world. But I'll leave it there and let Black Steel go.
Yeah, they're messing with your sound a little bit again, but we'll push on through. I just want to say to the panelists too, keep an eye on the chat, and sometimes when you guys give your responses, I want y'all to address some of the things that's going on in the chat. So, Jagan, shout out to Jagan who said, by the way, shout out to Kofi who says sup to the family. Jagan is out here. KW7 is out here. KW7 said the wealth gap is $110 trillion, and then national debt is $35 trillion. But Jagan has a little stream of thought going on here. He says, how did she, meaning Kamala, give a black agenda? He goes on to say, why black people always have to worry about giving it back? I think I think that is a necessary thing to worry about. I want to just give you the analogy about a man not teaching you how to fish, but giving you a fish. And after you've consumed that fish, what next? What next? So he says that's insane that we keep talking about worrying about giving it back. But you tell me, Jagan, what should be the idea here? Cash payments, and then what? After you're done with the cash payments, then what? As a people, I ain't talking about as an individual. I'm talking about as a people, then what? So I'll be interested to see what Jagan has to say. In the meantime, let me welcome in our brother Black Steel. Black Steel, how are you this week?
I'm doing all right, Koku. Buana, how y'all doing this fine evening?
I'm doing good.
So, first of all, again, to my point, this was a hard thing to listen to because the old man is just ranting, right? The idea that voting for a presidential candidate will get you reparations is truly absurd because this man doesn't know how the government works. So, for example, right? Black people in America only make up 14% of the population in America. And this is a problem because although the black vote can count in certain swing states, we don't make up enough of the electorate unless we have, some people on our side. And this is something that always disturbs me. White people, black people, African Americans, not just African Americans, but all Africans across the diaspora are due reparations, not just for the things that were done to us, but the things that are still happening to us right now. African Americans do reparations, Haiti is due reparations, Jamaica is due reparations, the Bahamas do reparations. Every nation on the continent is due reparations for the imperialism, colonialism, transatlantic slave trade. We are justly due, but I think the scope of mine is so limited. Give us cash payments in land. So, and to your point, Koku, what did you give black people cash payments, right? Are we going to build black-owned banks and invest this money into the same capitalist system that our oppressors have already put us in? Or are we going to put it in Wells Fargo? We're going to put it in Navy Federal, Bank of America. When you start putting these stipulations, we want some cash pay, we want some land, but they still control the institutions of power. So he did mention, for example, reparations that were given to the Japanese Americans who were interned during World War II, right? So one thing about that is that the reparation request was made from one sovereign nation to another, right? And also, too, the country Japan was able to put forth a little bit of leverage towards America, right? We don't really have the leverage to put on them because, truth be told, any political candidate who makes reparation for black people as a major part of their platform is not getting fucking elected. And they know that. That's why Kamala ain't saying nothing. That's why Trump ain't saying nothing. If Trump say I support reparations for black people, his support among white evangelical Christians, which is his largest base, is gonna evaporate. It's done. It's done. And that's the issue. So you can't legislate your way into reparations. The president could pass an executive order. He's talking about Trump doing whatever he wanted to do. The president can sign an executive order, which does have the force of law. But just because they sign an executive order doesn't mean it's carried out. Obama signed an executive order to close Guantanamo Bay. That shit's still open. Okay. It sounded good in the face of it, but nothing happened. Trump signed an executive order to build a wall in Mexico. That wall ain't built. So just because they signed an executive order, doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna take place. And he said, I want the window fixed, whatever. Okay, here's the thing. What if your neighbor says, I'm not fixing the window? What you gonna do about it? I'm not fixing shit. Deal with it. What leverage do you have on your neighbor to fix the window? If they say, I'm not fixing it, what you gonna do? Now the ball's in your court. I'm not fixing a goddamn thing. Deal with it. Fix it yourself. But see, you can bring forth leverage on your neighbor because you can sue them, right? You can take them to court if that happens. It's possible. But in this case, who are black people going to take America to the World Court? The International Court of Justice? The United Nations? There's no higher body to appeal to. And even when you do appeal to a higher body, they ignore you. So look what's going on in Palestine right now. The International Criminal Court, all saying it's a genocide. They're talking about putting Netanyahu, getting a warrant for him. But unless you have the power to enforce your decrees, they're just going to look at you and say, fuck you. What you going to do about it? Nothing. And that's what black Americans are faced with. Because yes, we deserve reparations. And first of all, I don't even believe we should have cash. I mean, cash payments is all well and good, but the very idea that, okay, you give us some cash and it makes it all right. There's no amount of money they could give us to compensate us for everything they took from us. There's no amount of money. It would bankrupt the West. I heard some people say $250, per black person, $1 million per black person. That's just not happening. That's not enough. Especially when you have situations where our communities are still oppressed. We still deal with over-policing. We still deal with police brutality and redlining and other economic disenfranchisement. There's no check you can write. And white people say, hey, you know what? We're going to write a check for you here. Here's your check. Everything's good. You're all good now. We give y'all some land. Another example they use, giving land to Native Americans. I think that's we got to look at, because first of all, every Native American is not the same. You have some tribes like the Choctaw, like the Cherokee, like Seminole, who, they got a little they got a little money from the treaties that were passed. And, they were able to open casinos on their land. They're doing somewhat decently. But then you look at the Lakota in North and South Dakota. The Pine Ridge Reservation is the poorest zip code in the United States. Native Americans have the highest rate of suicide, of alcoholism, of infant mortality. So every Native American is not getting reparations. And even if they do get land, what land are they given? They're given the worst land possible. They're given the land with no resources, no water. It's really not getting the best out there. So I think the idea of reparations is to repair you, is to bring you back to where you were before the injustice took place. Money's not going to fix that. Land's not going to fix that unless we deal with the overall system of injustice that is in place in America. I think that I believe we totally do reparations. First of all, it can't be done on an individual basis. Black Americans need reparations, all right? This is something that's going to have to take the entire diaspora of African people. This is something that, This is something that we're all going to have to work towards so that we can get our reparations as a united people. So we're not just asking America. We're asking Great Britain. We're asking France. We're asking Portugal. We're asking the Netherlands. All the nations that were complicit in our enslavement, in our colonization. We're asking Germany. Germany still ain't paid the Herero people in Namibia for what they did to them. Now, they can break off a check to Israel every now and then because of what they did to them. But what happened with African people? Oh, you know what happened in the past? Let it go. Haiti deserves reparation for what was done to them by the French. But I think unless we come at it, first of all, from a position of strength. Right now, we're asking with our hat in our hand, please, sir, could you give us our reparations, please, sir? Please, please. No, they're like, fuck you, no. But if they say, no, if you don't give us our reparations, you don't repair our people, we have the ability to harm you or to have leverage over you. Okay. At that point, they take our demands seriously. The West respects one thing, and that's power, right? And their money too. Unless we have the ability to affect them in that way, they're not going to come to. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, the old man mad. And one more thing, the FBA ADOS stuff is really a very online movement started by a high school dropout, Tariq Nasheed, and a former pimp. And, that's for the FBA. And then you have Yvette Carnell, who worked for a white supremacist think tank, Progressive for Immigration Reform. Look it up. I'm not lying. So you have these two entities who are attempting to separate Black Americans from the larger diaspora. There's one thing white people have always been cautious about is that Africans on the continent and Africans in America uniting. Okay, that's something they've always been very, very suspicious of, and always done their level best to keep that from happening, right? So if you're going to fight a vampire, right, what do you use? You're going to use some garlic. I'm going to bring a crucifix. If I'm fighting Superman, I'm going to give him kryptonite. I know that hurts him. So to me, if you know that the European is fearful of Pan-Africanism, why would you not use Pan-Africanism? To me, and this is in my thinking, my train of thought, these people who work so hard to separate us from our brothers and sisters and our cousins across the world are not in reality an asset but a liability. These people are, I would go so far. Tariq Nasheed is definitely an agent, right? I'm gonna say that right now on camera, on record. That man's an agent, all right? Yvette Carnell, definitely an agent. And these Black people who are pushing these ideas that we need to separate, these people are not working for our best interest, because they're going to literally sit us here and we're going to go around in circles. Next election cycle will be the same shit. Oh, we want reparations. You ain't getting reparations. I want reparations. You're not getting reparations. They're not. I'm sorry. You can't make them. All right. Oh, he asked me a good question. Where do we begin with it? Okay. So I think Pan-African is the best mechanism. I mean, we have more in common than we have separately. All right. Even with the difference in language, we have so much in common. I think that there definitely needs to be economic bridges, but also cultural bridges. I think that the right of return that Ghana does is a good first step. But I would love to hear what other people would say about how we can get started in building these connections and building a source of strength. I think what they're doing in the alliances of health states is excellent. Removing those European borders. Like, who gave these colonialists the right to divide our home and tell us who we can and can't associate with? But that's for, I think, for people smarter than me. But I would like to hear some more thoughts on that. But I've spoken long enough. Thank you, Coco.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. Yeah, I invited Jagan from the chat to come on up because he keeps saying things like, yeah, it's the runaways versus the field. And we ain't the same. But I invite you to come up and tell us what the plan is. What's the plan? You get the money. Okay, even if they give you the money, what's the plan? Just a bunch of rugged individualism, that there's no cohesion, no unity. And by the way, let me say this too. I realize people tend to hear what they want to hear. No one is asking why reparations. We all understand. The first thing out of Buana and Black Steel's mouth was reparations are due. We understand that. But what apparatus do you have to force this man to give you reparations? It seems like the apparatus that the FBA and ADOS have is to show the white man how they are more, have more in common than other Black folks with them, right? You'll hear Tone Talks talking about, well, if you check it out, our culture is about 80% the same. But what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But that's a plan. The plan is to cozy up to whiteness. It's a very integrationist movement, really. It's cozy up to whiteness, shun other Black folks, and that's not gonna get nothing for you, and I don't get nothing for no one else. I watched a video with Marcel. What's that guy's name? Marcel for Congress. can't think of his last name now, but
Marcel Dixon.
Dixon, right? And he's talking about, he's basically running interference for white folks. America doesn't owe any of these other black people anything, but you owe us people. And I'm like, wait a minute, do you know what the role America played in the slave trade in Zanzibar? Do you know what the role America has played in destroying the economies in the Caribbean, Central America, South America? What are you talking about? But the first thing he had to say was run interference for white folks against other black folks. So what's the plan? That's what I want to know. What is the plan ultimately? Right? Shout out to Jose, you said Marcel, the parking lot gobbler. Yes, that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, shout out to Provide Triggers. Yeah, but you're chopping up.
Are you serious? I'm gonna hold it back. I'll go back to the computer and try it again because I really want to answer Jiggin. I really want to answer Jiggin.
Yeah, go back and try the previous one. The previous one was better. KW7 in the chat says, how do you follow a homophile like Marcel Dixon? You know, I mean, this is, but then we have people asking us who's the field and who's the runaway. And I like what Jose asked when he first came into the chat. Let me find the comment. I lost the comment now. But Jose said something interesting when he said to Jaigan, he said, runaway versus field. Do you mean those that ran from the field are the wrong one and those on the field the free? That's an interesting question, because what do you really mean by that? What do you really mean? This is a sober conversation. Let me tell you something. The way to get the way this thing is designed, to get those reparations really and truly, you have to have the power to go and get it. That's why the analogy that Black Steel gave was a great one. Whereas the analogy given by Jigan in the chat about the window being broken is a bad one. What if your neighbor says, man, F your window? I ain't doing shit. Do you have the power to go and make him come and fix the window? Yeah, we have to be more sober in these conversations, less emotional like this black guy who was in this video on the phone call. He's just centered on money. Give me money. And this guy, the host, is trying to tell him, like, yo, there's a process. He ain't trying to hear the process. Just write checks. Just write checks. Like, come on now. Come on now. What are we doing? Jose say he'll join us in a few. Black Steel, while we wait for Buana, do you have anything else you want to add here?
Only thing I would say is that I believe that this desire for reparations it comes from a good place, but I think we're going about the wrong way. I really do. Sorry, hold on, guys. I agree. I'll be right.
All right, let's see if Buana's sound is better. Buana?
Well, I guess he's one. I wanted to answer some of the sentiments that I heard. Koku, can you hear me?
Yes, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just really wanted to answer some of the sentiments that the brother Jagan is making comments. Just engage us, bro. Have a conversation with us. You're making statements. Have the courage of your convictions. Having a conversation, even if you disagree. This is where the dialogue at least becomes an honest one. Don't distance yourself by not clicking on and actually having it's only fair. That's only fair. But to your state unified, it's been almost a year plus now. Jose Bronze is in the Netherlands. Koku in New York City. Brother Bakari is in Atlanta. Unified. How is it that we collectively find our secular time 8 o'clock, and it's been that way for almost 8+ years? There has to be some unification just in that alone, just in that small thing alone. So I don't understand when you say we are not unified. Unified in doing what? You mean collectively all over the world? 400, I mean, a billion plus people. What should we be unified doing? That's not really being said. I don't know what you want us to actively do, because you work within the territory, you work within an environment that you could work in. My environment is small, so I work with this whole YouTube thing. I work to have a union and camaraderie with my brothers every week. So I don't know what it is that you want us to be. Oh, then you don't have the same commonalities or whatever. The question I would ask is, have you spent any particular period of time investigating any of the countries that you say that we don't have a union with? Because if you go in Haiti, you would see similar foods, you would see similar dispositions, you would see very similar attitudes that you engage people with in the United States of America, that you would see in Cuba, that you would see in the Bahamas and Jamaica. Do you travel? Do you use your passport a lot? Do you engage anyone outside of your immediate circle of American people or wherever you are in the world? Do you engage others? Do you do these things before you make these general statements? Do you know the history of America? Do you know a Haitian person called Jean Paul Dusable? Dusable discovered Chicago. Do you know Henri Christophe fought in the American Revolutionary War in the 17 when they had the American Revolutionary War? He ended up being a Haitian king. Henri Christophe, he fought in the American Revolutionary War, and what the Haitians gave to America. Do you know these things before you start making these generalized statements of we are separated, we have nothing in common, one hand has nothing to do? You know these things? Do you know the American government went into Haiti in 19 to American reparations, bro? This dude is a liar. And like I say, you don't want to engage. You throw peanuts from the peanut gallery, and you so safe. You stay in your little, and you never want to click that button and engage the people you throwing peanuts at. This is the reason why I kind of tend to ignore you all, but only because Koku say, respond to these kinds of comments. I can't ignore these comments because you don't have the courage.
You should ignore it, Bwana. You should ignore it.
Even just have a dialogue, bro.
But Bwana, you should ignore it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off, Bwana. But yeah, you should ignore him because let's be honest, these FBA clowns, they never come at white people the way they come at other black people. They never have the smoke for these crackers the same way they had the smoke for their brothers and sisters, which is because they're an anti-black hate group. Okay? You're not getting your reparations, homie. Sorry to tell you that. Sorry, you're not getting them. You can't make these crackers don't want to give them to you, and you can't make them. All right. But instead of organizing, you want to talk crap and hate on other black people because they're control opposition. This is what COINTELPRO is about. They're control opposition, right? When black people start to organize, because think about it, when all this stuff come out, right after, George Floyd gets killed, right after, it's a global black awakening after the protests and everything. And not to give, Black Lives Matter, but I think it was a understanding that we all in this together, right? And here these clowns come, right? Again, global control opposition, all right? So unless you're going to do the work with other Black people, just continue. Ignore us. Ignore the other Black people. Just keep on go to the white people with your hat in your hand. Be on your best behavior, and they might give you a couple dollars here and there, you know. But you're not going to get no reparations, you know. Go over there, go talk to them, see what they give you, see how it works out for you. Come back and you let me know.
Yeah, the brother said he's not FBA. That's Jagged. He said he's a Hotep. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Is there any last thoughts on this prompt currently from my panelists? All right. Good discussion. Good discussion. I think we have to have, you know, like I said before, more sober conversations about real things. About how the world really works, not how you think it works on paper. And I think that's an important distinction to be made here. One last thing. Provide Triggers for Evolution asked a question earlier. What about the AU? Is there a shot, that's the African Union, is there a shot at challenging its current funding stream away from the West and finding alternative ways of funding it and revolutionizing its agenda towards reparations? Let me throw that to the panelists. You guys have any thoughts on that?
No, I don't think that's possible. The AU is too embedded with the Western powers. I think the AU as it exists is a pawn, a puppet of neocolonialism. It would have to be completely dismantled. I think, you know, there's too much stuff going on in Africa to think that the AU would be an assistance of any type.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. All right, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. I know Afro Native World's out there. Shout out to Afro Native World. Shout out to Jose, who's charging up his phone. We look forward to you joining the panel tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic number 2.